Listen, if you're running a brand right now and you're not paying attention to pop culture, you're basically trying to win a marathon with your shoelaces tied together. Pop culture is where people's attention lies. It's where they spend hours every single day, scrolling, watching, sharing, talking, reacting. And attention, my friends, is the only real currency in business. You can have the best product, the greatest logo, the smartest team, but if you don't have people's attention, you've already lost before the game even starts. Think about it. The biggest brands today don't just sell products, they live inside culture. When a meme goes viral, when a song blows up on TikTok, when a TV show takes over the internet, the brands that move fast and creatively, they win. Because they understand that marketing isn't about interrupting people anymore. And 20, it's about joining the conversation that's already happening. You have to understand where the culture's energy is going and pour your brand right into it. Now, I'm not talking about chasing every single trend like a headless chicken. That's not strategy. That's desperation. What I'm saying is pay attention. Understand what your audience cares about. If everyone's talking about a movie, an influencer, a social issue, or a viral moment, and your brand stays silent or generic, you're invisible. The brands that understand culture speak the same language as their audience. They use the same references, the same humor, the same emotions that people are already connected to. You want to know what kills brands? Ego. The idea that we're too big to jump on a trend, or our industry isn't about that. That mindset is poison, because while you're being too professional, your competitors are building emotional connections through relevance. And guess what? Relevance beats professionalism every single time. People buy from brands they relate to, not brands that lecture them. The truth is, we live in a world where every single person with a phone has a voice, and 20, and culture changes by the minute. You can't just rely on last year's marketing strategy anymore. What worked in 2022 is dead in 2025. The platforms have changed. The algorithms have changed. The audience has changed. So if you're not adapting, you're becoming invisible fast. The most powerful thing a brand can do right now is become part of the moment. Don't just post polished ads that nobody cares about. Create content that feels like it belongs in people's feeds. Something that makes them laugh, feel, think, or share. That's how you build brand love in today's world. Every brand today is fighting for one thing: attention. And it doesn't matter if you're selling sneakers, software, or coffee. If people don't notice you, you're invisible. Attention is the real currency of the modern world. Without it, nothing else matters. You could have the best team, best product, and 20, the best product or the biggest vision, but if you don't have people's eyes and ears, you're not even in the game. And that's exactly why understanding pop culture is non-negotiable for any brand that wants to win. Pop culture isn't just entertainment. It's the pulse of what people care about. It's the language of relevance. And 20, and relevance is what drives attention. When you see a brand constantly popping up in conversations, memes, or trends, that's not luck. That's awareness in motion. They've learned to insert themselves into the moments people are already paying attention to. Think about the brands that dominate your feed. They're not sitting in boardrooms planning safe, boring campaigns that no one remembers. They're out there in real time, jumping into cultural conversations, speaking the way their audience speaks, and then being part of what's there now. They understand that in 2025, and marketing isn't about interrupting people with your message. It's about integrating your brand into what people already care about. If your content feels like an ad, it's ignored. But if it feels like a natural part of the culture, it gets shared, talked about, and loved. That's the new reality of attention. You don't buy it anymore, you earn it. Here's the truth. People don't wake up thinking about your brand. They wake up checking social media, reacting to what's happening in pop culture. A viral challenge, a celebrity moment, a trending topic, a meme. That's where their focus is. So if you're not showing up there, you're irrelevant. You're screaming into a void. The brands that win understand and how to listen. They pay attention to where attention is going, and they follow it relentlessly. When a viral sound is taking over TikTok, they're not debating whether it's on brand. They're figuring out how to use it creatively to tell their story. When a meme is trending, they're finding clever ways to tie it back to their product. That's how you earn attention, not by forcing yourself into the conversation, but by being fluent in it. But let's get real. Attention isn't about tricks. It's not about chasing clout or jumping on every single trend like a robot. It's about understanding humans. Why do people care about what they care about? Why do certain trends blow up? Why do some stories go viral? If you understand human behavior, you'll understand attention. Pop culture is just the expression of what humans value at a specific moment in time. And if you can align your brand's message with that emotion, whether it's humor, nostalgia, empowerment, and or excitement, you're no longer advertising, you're connecting. And that's the difference between being seen once and being remembered forever. You have to realize attention is fragile. It moves fast. What's hot today might be gone tomorrow. That's why consistency matters more than perfection. You can't post once a week and expect people to care. You have to show up daily, experiment, adapt, and pay attention to what's resonating. Brands that master this aren't obsessed with vanity metrics. They're obsessed with understanding their audience. They use every post, every comment, every piece of feedback as data, because in the attention economy, data isn't just numbers, it's insight into how people feel. And when you know how people feel, you can create content that connects at scale. The brands that dominate culture understand this one law, where attention goes, money follows. Every major success story in marketing has been built on that principle. And you can't sell to someone who isn't listening, and you can't influence someone who doesn't care. Attention is the foundation of all business growth. It's the spark that turns awareness into engagement into trust, and trust into sales. So stop thinking you're in the product business, the service business, or the technology business. You're in the IR's attention business and pop culture. That's where the attention lies. The speed of culture today is insane. Trends rise, explode, and disappear faster than most brands can schedule a meeting. That's the problem. Too many companies are still operating like it's 2005, trying to perfect every piece of content before it ever sees the light of day. They want every post approved, polished, and perfectly branded. But by the time they finally hit publish, the world has already moved on. That's the reality of business in the attention economy. A speed beats perfection. The brands that win are the ones that move fast, adapt fast, and aren't scared to look imperfect in the process, because perfection is an illusion in a world that refreshes every second. And 20, you're not competing against your direct competitors anymore. You're competing against the internet's next viral moment. Let's be real, no one is sitting around waiting for your brand's next post. People scroll through hundreds of videos, images, and stories every day. If you hesitate, someone else will capture that attention before you do. The difference between being talked about and being forgotten often comes down to timing. If something big happens in pop culture, a meme, a trend, a viral sound, and your brand takes 2 weeks to respond, that's not strategy, that's irrelevance. The brands that dominate know how to act in real time. They see what's happening, they create fast, and they post without overthinking. That agility is their competitive advantage. It's not about guessing the future, it's about reacting to the present. The truth is, perfection kills momentum. And 20, the moment you start obsessing over the perfect caption, the perfect lighting, or the perfect font, you've already slowed down the one thing that matters, your ability to engage now. The internet rewards speed, creativity, and an authenticity, not polish. People want to see something real, something they can feel connected to. The brands that move quickly can test, learn, and adjust. They don't see mistakes as failures, they see them as data. And 20, every post that doesn't perform teaches them something about their audience. Every trend they jump on gives them insight into what resonates. That's how modern marketing works. Constant experimentation. Speed allows you to learn faster than everyone else. The other part of speed that most people ignore is momentum. When you move fast and you create momentum that builds your brand's presence. You become part of the conversation consistently, and people start recognizing your voice in the noise. They start expecting your take on what's trending. That consistency builds awareness faster than any ad campaign ever could. But if you're slow, you disappear between posts. The algorithm forgets you, your audience forgets you, and by the time you return, you're starting from scratch again. You have to feed the machine, not with spam, but with consistent reactive energy that keeps your brand alive in people's minds. And let's talk about fear and 20, because that's what slows most brands down. Fear of saying the wrong thing, fear of not being perfect, fear of backlash. But here's the truth, fear is the enemy of speed. If you're afraid of every potential mistake, you'll never move. And while you're frozen, your competitors are taking risks, learning and growing. You can't control the internet. You can't control how every single person reacts. What you can control is your ability to stay relevant, to be part of the culture, and to engage with authenticity. The market respects effort more than hesitation. People give mistakes. They don't forgive being boring when you understand that the game is about attention, not perfection. Everything changes. You stop worrying about being flawless and start focusing on being first. You start realizing that done is better than perfect because perfect never happens. The brands that are dominating right now are winning because they understand speed equals connection. They don't wait to react. They don't wait to react. They move with culture. They understand that in a world where trends live and die in 24 hours, hesitation is death. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a fast pulse. Because when the culture moves, it doesn't look back. And if you're not moving with it, you're already behind. Authenticity and relevance are the lifeblood of modern branding. People today are smarter than ever before. They can smell fake marketing from a mile away. You can't just throw out polished ads or fancy taglines and expect people to care. The truth is, consumers crave realness. And they want to connect with brands that feel human, that understand their world, their humor, their struggles, their excitement. Pop culture gives you the perfect window into that world because it reflects what people actually care about in real time. When your brand learns to speak the same emotional language as your audience, you stop being a faceless company and start being part of their everyday life. That's the difference between selling a product and building a relationship. Relevance isn't just about being trendy. It's about being as in tune. It means understanding what your audience values right now. If a new artist is breaking records, if a new meme is dominating social feeds, if a cultural moment is uniting millions of people online, that's where emotion lives. And wherever emotion lives, attention follows. The smartest brands know how to tap into that emotion without faking it. They don't force their way into conversations. They find natural, creative ways to show up. They use humor, empathy, nostalgia, or inspiration to connect with people in a way that feels effortless. Because when a brand genuinely understands the vibe of the moment, it earns something more valuable than a sale. It earns trust. Think about it this way: people buy feelings, not features. They buy the way something makes them feel about themselves. And pop culture is the mirror of those feelings. When a brand can align its message with a cultural moment that already has emotional weight, it creates impact instantly. A clever tweet that ties into a viral event, a video that rides the rhythm of a trending song, and a campaign that reflects what people are already talking about. These are the modern tools of connection. They work because they don't feel forced. They feel like a continuation of the conversation people are already having. That's what authenticity is. Not acting like something you're not, but showing who you really are in a way that fits the world around you. Authenticity also means admitting imperfection. People don't expect brands to be flawless anymore. They expect them to be real. They want to see humor, humility, and honesty. When a brand makes a mistake and owns it with transparency, it actually earns more respect than those that try to hide behind corporate language. Social media has made the world conversational, and in conversation, people want to talk to other humans, not robots. That's why authenticity and relevance go hand in hand. You can't be relevant if you're not authentic, and you can't be authentic if you're disconnected from what your audience actually cares about. And 20, the brands that master this aren't just reacting to trends, they're emotionally sensing with the people who drive those trends. They don't just look at what's viral, they look at why it's viral. What emotion does it tap into? Is it funny? Is it empowering? Is it controversial? Is it nostalgic? Once you understand the emotion, you can communicate in a way that resonates deeply. That's how you build connection. People may forget what your brand said in 20, but they'll never forget how your brand made them feel. Relevance opens the door, but authenticity keeps you inside. At the end of the day, this isn't about being cool. It's about being connected. The internet is full of noise, and people have endless choices. The only reason they'll choose to use your brand over another is because it feels like you get them. You understand their world. You care about what they care about. That's the kind of connection that no budget can buy and no algorithm can fake. In a digital world overflowing with content, authenticity and relevance are the only real differentiators left. They're the heartbeat of attention, the foundation of trust, and the ultimate bridge between your brand and the people you're trying to reach. Culture never stands still. It's constantly evolving, shifting, and reinventing itself every single day. What's cool today might feel outdated in a few weeks, and what feels irrelevant now might become the next big thing overnight. That's the reality of the world we live in, and any brand that refuses to evolve with it is writing its own obituary. The brands that win are the ones that treat change like oxygen. They don't fear it, they feed on it. They're always listening, learning, and adapting to the rhythm of culture. Because culture is a living, breathing organism, and if your brand isn't growing with it, you're dying while standing still. The biggest mistake most brands make is getting comfortable. They find a formula that worked once and think it'll work forever. But the internet doesn't care about your history. The audience doesn't care about your old success. People care about what's next. If you're relying on last year's strategy, you're already behind. The way people consume content changes faster than ever. New platforms, new algorithms, new attention spans, new expectations. A few years ago, long-form storytelling was king. Now, it's short-form video. Tomorrow, it might be something entirely new. If you're not paying attention, you're losing ground while your competitors are evolving. The game changes daily, and staying relevant means constantly reinventing how you show up. To evolve with culture, you first need humility. Too many brands let ego block growth. They think we're too big to follow trends, or we don't need to be on that platform. That arrogance is a slow death sentence. The moment you think you figured it out, the culture shifts and leaves you behind. The great brands never assume they've arrived. They stay curious. They ask, where is attention moving? And how can we add value there? They're students of the game and not masters pretending to know it all. That mindset of humility and curiosity is what keeps them relevant no matter how fast the world changes. Evolving with culture isn't about chasing every new thing. It's about understanding direction. You don't have to be everywhere in 20, but you have to be where your audience is, and that's constantly changing. Maybe it's TikTok today. Maybe it'll be something new tomorrow. The key is to listen, to watch behavior, and to move when attention moves. The data is right there in front of you every day. What people are sharing, what they're watching, what they're reacting to. That's your blueprint. And 20, you don't need a complicated marketing strategy when the internet literally tells you what people care about. But you do need the courage to act on it quickly and creatively. The ability to evolve also means understanding that your brand is a personality, not just a product. It should grow, experiment, and even make mistakes. People connect with evolution because it reflects real life. When a brand changes its tone, visuals, or content style to match the times, it feels alive. When it stays rigid and predictable, it feels corporate and cold. The brands that thrive aren't afraid to test new ideas, to pivot, to rebrand, or to shift focus when the culture demands it. They're not obsessed with how things used to be. They're obsessed with how things are and where things are going. The truth is, evolution is uncomfortable, but it's necessary. Growth always requires discomfort. It forces you to unlearn what worked before and try something that might not work immediately. But that's the price of staying relevant. The world doesn't wait for anyone. The culture is running full speed, and the question is whether your brand is running with it or standing on the sidelines, watching others pass by. Change isn't a threat, it's an opportunity. Every shift in culture gives you a new way to connect, a new story to tell, a new chance to lead. The brands that embrace that will continue to win, while the ones that resist it will fade quietly into the background. Because in the end, culture doesn't adapt to you, you adapt to culture. At the end of the day, this whole game is about understanding where people's attention lies and having the courage to show up there with honesty, speed, and heart. The world moves faster than ever, and culture shifts by the minute. If your brand isn't paying attention, you're not just missing opportunities, you're missing the entire conversation. Every meme, every viral song, every shared emotion online is a reflection of what people care about right now. And if you're not part of that conversation, you're invisible. Winning today isn't about shouting the loudest. It's about connecting the deepest. It's about knowing your audience so well that your message feels like it's speaking directly to them. This is the new reality. Attention is everything. Authenticity is currency, and speed is survival. The brands that thrive are the ones that stop overthinking and start. Do they test? They listen, they adapt, and they move with the rhythm of culture. They understand that mistakes will happen, but silence is worse than failure. The internet rewards those who stay active, relevant, and real. So if you're still waiting for the perfect time to post or the perfect idea to go viral, you're already too late. And what I thought, the brands that will win tomorrow are the ones that pay attention today. They'll be the ones that evolve with every shift. And 20, connect through every trend and stay true to who they are while speaking the language of the culture around them. That's how you build real connection. That's how you build a legacy. Don't chase perfection. Chase attention. Chase authenticity. Chase the pulse of the people. Because in a world that never stops moving, the only way to win is to move with it.